Hello and welcome to this lesson on linear equations. Okay, a bit of algebra. And in linear equations, we're asked to solve. That means to find what a letter is. Now, it's usually X, but it can be any letter. The letter stands for a number that we don't know what it is. We're unaware. We have to find what it is. And we're given a little linear equation. It might look a little bit like this one here, where you have X terms. There's two of them. There's one there and there's one there. And number terms. There they are there. The 5 is a number and the 15. Sorry, we better put the box around the sign in front as well. Okay, so they are X terms and number terms. Okay, and we have to find what X actually stands for. What number is X? So let's see, how do we go about these? Let's take a look at the steps to do these. Let's zoom out and let's see the steps, and let's try and answer this little question that we have here. What's the first thing we need to do? It says highlight my X numbers in one color and my normal numbers in another color. Okay, well, let's pick green for my X numbers. Where's my X numbers? Here's one here. I'm going to highlight that in green. And here's one here. So I'll highlight that in green. And I have to highlight my normal numbers in another color. I'm going to pick yellow. So here's a normal number. And here's a normal number. Okay, I've done step 1. Now on to step 2. Decide which ones have to move. What does that mean? Well, X's should be on the left and numbers should be on the right. So that means that over here on this side, I should have X's. And over here on this side, I should have the numbers. And if they're not in the right place, I have to move them. Okay? Consider the equal sign to be the middle. And on this side, there should be X's. And on this side, there should be numbers. So, let's look and see what's in the wrong place as it stands. Okay. 4X, that's an X number, so that's okay where it is. 5, that's a number. That shouldn't be there. That should be over here. So I'm going to move that in a moment over here. 2X, that's an X number. That should be on the other side. That should be in here. So I'm going to move that in a minute. And 15, that's a number. That's okay where it is. So now that I've decided what I need to move, now I need to actually move them. If you move them though, you have to remember that their sign will change. That means that if they were a plus and you move them, they'll become a minus. And if they were a minus and you move them, they'll become a plus. So 4X, I'm not moving that, so I'm just going to write it again. That didn't move, so I don't need to change anything about it. But what's going to come in here now? This 2X, I just said that that had to move in there. So I'm going to need to move this 2X in there. But it'll no longer be a plus 2X, because that's what it is at the minute, isn't it? It's a plus 2X. You just can't see the plus. So if I move it, it becomes a minus 2X. That's really important. Remember to do that. And what about over on this side? The 15 is already there and it's okay. We don't need to move it anywhere, so we can write that again, 15. And you can put the plus 15 in there if you want. That's okay too. We didn't move it, remember. What are we moving? We're moving this 5. And it's a plus 5 as it stands. So if you move it, it becomes a minus 5. Oh, we better do it in red, seeing as how we did the other one in red. Minus 5. Lovely. That's step 3. Now on to step 4. Tidy up. both sides. Now you can do this with a calculator if you want, or if you're good enough to do it in your head, by all means do it in your head. What's 4 x's take away 2 x's? I can type it into my calculator if I want. 4 minus 2. I get 2. But remember to put back in the x. What about over here? 15 minus 5. What's that? That's 10. Okay, that's the both sides tidied up, so that there's just one thing on the left and one thing on the right. On to our last step now. We have to divide both sides by the number in front of x. What number is in front of x? Let's highlight this now so we're clear on this. The 2 is in front of the x. So we're going to need to divide both sides by 2. We're going to need to divide the left hand side by 2 and the right hand side by 2. And when you do that, this will cancel with this, and you'll just be left with x on this side. But we have to type this into our calculator, or we could do it in our head if we're really good. 10 over 2, or 10 divided by 2. When you type that into the calculator, you get 5. And there's our answer. X is equal to 5. So all this time, that's what x was equal to. So we've solved what x is. How did you find that? Let's try one more example, and then you can try a couple of questions. You can pause the video and try a couple of questions. So here's another one. What's our first step? Highlight my x numbers in one color and my normal numbers in another color. What did I do the last time? What was my x colors in? They were green and my normal numbers were yellow. So why not keep it that way? X numbers in green, normal numbers in yellow. Mine always highlight the sign in front of them as well, because that's connected to them. The sign in front. Okay, I've done step 1. Now, what's step 2? Decide which ones have to move. Remember, over on this side there should just be x's. And over on this side we have the normal numbers. Just the normal numbers over here, but no x's. So at the minute, that's okay. I'm happy with that being there. That's an x, and it's on the left, so it's okay. This is a number. This has to move. This is going to move over to the end over here, on the other side. What about 4x? That shouldn't be there, shouldn't it not? That should be over here with the other x's. So that's going to move in there in its place. And what about 17? Is 17 a normal number? Yes, it is, so that's okay where it is. So that's step 2. I've decided what needs to move. Now on to step 3. Actually move them. So I'm not moving 6x, so that stays where it is. But I'm moving that 4x. I'm going to move it into here. But remember, change the sign if you move it. That was a plus. If I move it over, it becomes a minus. What about on this side? This 17 was already here. I can write plus 17 if I want. I'm not moving it, remember, so it can stay as plus 17. But I've got to move this minus 3 over here. What's that going to become? It's going to become a plus 3. It was a minus, and if I move it, I have to change the sign, so it becomes a plus. Now, if you looked at what we had with the highlighted colours, the x's are all on the left hand side. That's where we wanted them. This one and this one. And the normal numbers are all on the right hand side. The 17 and the 3. Okay, we've tidied up. Now we've got to tidy up. We've got to use our calculator to tidy up this left hand side and then this right hand side. So let's do the left hand side first. 6 take away 4. 2. But of course we remember to put on our x's. 17 plus 3, 20. Can you remember the last step? We've got to divide both sides by the number in front of x. What number is in front of x? 2. So we've got to divide both sides by 2. And remember, it'll mean it cancels there, and you're just left with x. And over here we can type it into the calculator, and we get 10. There's the answer to that one. Okay, now you're going to try some of these questions. 2 questions, 2 linear equations for you to try. In a moment, you can pause the video, take those questions down into your copy, or a blank piece of paper is fine either. Make sure you've got maybe 2 different colour highlighters with you. You've got your pen, you've got your calculator, and you give those questions a go. And when you're finished, press play on the video again and see if you got them right. Best of luck. Okay, I'm going to continue on. I hope you tried both of those questions and you got 2 answers. And let's see how you did. So let's actually work these out now. Let's try with the first one over here. Right, what's in the wrong place? We have numbers here and here. And we have x numbers here and here. And we've got to move them so that they're all on the same side. X's should be over here. Numbers should be over here. Equals should stay in the middle. So this is fine. That's 6x is fine. We're going to move that 5x over. But we have to remember to change the sign. Did you remember to do that? That 3 is okay where it is. So we can keep it there. But we need to move this number over here to the end of the line. Did you remember to change the sign? It's now a +2. Okay, let's tidy it up. 6 x's take away 5 x's. That's 1x. 3 plus 2, that's 5. The very last step, you don't really have to do it here, but let's just keep doing it. We've got to divide both sides by the number in front of x, and 1 is in front of x, so we've got to divide both sides by 1. Now it'll cancel with this over here, and you'll just be left with x, and over here 5 divided by 1 is 5. How did you get on with that one? Did you get it right? If so, really well done. Now on to the second one. Let's see how we do here. The x's, let's highlight them in green. The numbers, let's highlight them in yellow, or whatever 2 colours you have. It doesn't have to be green and yellow. Now that's in the right place. That needs to move, doesn't it? That needs to move over here. And this has to move in there. So they're the things we have to move. We have to get x's on the left, numbers on the right. So the 8x is okay where it is, but we have to move that 10x. And what's it going to become? It's going to become a minus 10x. What doesn't have to move over here? That minus 1. Did you remember to keep the minus 1? We didn't move it, so it's still a minus 1. There it is there. We did not move it, so it stays as a minus 1. But we've got to move this plus 3 over here, and that's going to become a minus 3. This is a hard one. Now let's tidy up. 8 take away 10 is minus 2x. And minus 1 minus 3 is minus 4. Right, what number is in front of the x? It's a minus 2. So we've got to divide both sides by minus 2. Now of course they'll cancel over here, and you'll just be left with x. But what's minus 4 over minus 2? Positive 2. Now that was a hard one. If you got that one, that's really well done. Okay, there are the answers to those 2 questions. I hope you gave them a go on your own. And now that you see them worked out, I hope you know how to do them. Well done today. I'll see you in the next lesson.